family left in a vegetative state after eating contaminated wild boar they caught on a hunting trip wake up after 2 weeks paralyzed. A family who were left fighting for life after eating contaminated wild boar have woken up after 2 weeks in a vegetative state. 3 members of the same family from Putaruru, on New Zealand's North Island, were in a critical condition after eating the boar, which they shot on a hunting trip. Paramedics found Shibu Kochummen, 35, his wife Subi Babu, 32, and his mother Alekutty Daniel, 62, lying unconscious in their home in November after Mr Kochummen fainted while calling an ambulance. Despite doctors' warning they could be paralyzed for life, Mr Kochummen and Ms Daniel opened their eyes for the first time in 2 weeks a few days ago, and now Mrs Babu has woken and spoken to loved ones. Friend Joji Varghese told the New Zealand Herald that Mrs Babu's first words were to ask about her family. It was difficult to understand because her tongue was slurring so much, but she got the message across. "I'm just so happy. I'm really just trying to get all my thoughts into place. I'm happy confused," he said. The family, who moved from Kerala in India to New Zealand 5 years ago, have 2 children aged 7 and 1. Miraculously the meat was the only item of food the young children did not eat during the meal. Suffering from what is expected to be a severe case of food poisoning, the trio are lying in hospital in an unresponsive state. Mr Varghese said it was believed the family were poisoned after eating a wild boar they had caught on a hunting trip. They have been diagnosed with food poisoning, after having consumed contaminated wild boar, he said. Though they exhibit periods of intermittent consciousness, they are for all practical purposes unresponsive and in a vegetative state. Mr Varghese told Daily Mail Australia that within 30 minutes of eating the meat the family started vomiting. Shibu's mother started vomiting and then collapsed. Shibu called an ambulance but fainted halfway through the call. When paramedics arrived they found 3 people collapsed on the floor and 2 children in bed sleeping. Luckily the family's young children did not eat the meat, which has now been taken for testing. It was just something they had decided to have for dinner. They put the kids to bed before they cooked the meat, Mr Varghese said. Mr Varghese told Daily Mail Australia Mr Kochummen was a keen outdoorsman who went hunting with friends about once a month. He went hunting with a group of friends locally in Putaruru when they caught the boar. He said it wasn't the first time the family had eaten wild boar. "We've shared boar on a number of occasions," Mr Varghese said. The family's young children are being looked after by the church group.